Now, we've reached not just the beginning of a new year, but also a presidential election year, of course. And the man leading the race for Republicans is contending with several court cases. You may want to get a notepad to detail all of this. Former President Trump faces a total of 91 felony counts across 4 separate criminal cases. Now, that includes allegations of hush money payments, illegal handling of classified documents, and attempts to overthrow the 2020 election. In addition, a second civil defamation trial brought forward by E. Jean Carroll is set to begin January 16th. Now, the fate of Trump's business empire could also be decided as soon as this month with the conclusion of his civil fraud trial. Trump has denied wrongdoing in every single one of these cases. CBS News campaign reporter Katrina Kaufman joins us now here in Studio 57 to walk us through what to expect. Katrina, great to have you here. Just outlining everything the former president faces is pretty incredible. Also, when you combine it with the fact that it hasn't dampened his support among those who want him to be president again. From your point of view, how is he handling all of this while trying to convince more people he should be president?
That's a great question. I mean, one thing he's doing is he's really trying to delay these trials as much as he can. So, for example, the D.C. federal election interference trial is supposed to start March 4th. That would be the first criminal trial against him. And right now there's an immunity appeal. He's claiming he has presidential immunity going before the D.C. circuit. So with all these cases, he's really trying to buy time for his campaign. But then the other thing he's doing is he's really making the courtroom just a campaign stop. So I was at the New York civil fraud trial with him, and every time there was a break, he would come outside the courtroom and he would, give a political speech, basically. So I think it's just a combination of those two tactics right now. Because with the criminal trials, he also has to be in court. So that's really difficult for his campaign because it takes him off the trail.
And to some degree, so long as his supporters still believe he should be president, he's willing to kind of just allow these cases to roll off of his shoulder. However, in some states, there have been efforts to remove him from the ballot completely. In Maine and Colorado, for example, he's back on the ballot after being disqualified. How is he able to remain, though, as an option for voters?
I mean, that's a great question. With Maine and Colorado, he's actually still on the primary ballots right now because both of those decisions are on pause. With Colorado, we're waiting for a decision from the U.S. Supreme Court about whether they're going to take up that case. And with Maine, which happened last week, the Secretary of State, she put a pause on that ruling to allow him to appeal. So we're really waiting to see how these ballots are going to play out and whether the U.S. Supreme Court is going to weigh in on this. I've even heard from a source that there's likely to be more challenges coming up across the country this week, which just shows the importance of really figuring this out before the general election and even before the primary, if we can.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because states are taking different approaches to this, as California decided against removing former President Trump from the ballot. And because you mentioned that this is ending up at the Supreme Court ultimately, I'm wondering if this is an election that will be decided by the Supreme Court in some ways, if all of these cases and questions don't knock former President Trump out of contention. What's your view on that?
I mean, there are a number of really key issues that are ending up at the foot of the Supreme Court right now, and we're really waiting to see if they're going to take up any of these cases. With the presidential immunity claim, they kicked that back to the D.C. Circuit. It could end up before them again. There's also an obstruction of justice issue that they're weighing in on, and then we have to see what they say about these ballots.
You'll have a very busy year ahead. Katrina Kaufman.
Definitely.
Great to have you with us. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.